Good evening, fellow grumps. And you might think it's strange that a man would be sitting here drinking Smirnoff vodka and getting ready to read from the Bible, but that's what I'm going to do. Now, Ian made his video about a week ago, and he read the scripture that talks about the pale horse from the book of Revelation. And I told him in my commentary, or my comment after his video, you stole my idea. I was going to do the same thing. But I've decided to do it anyway. So what we're going to do, this is my old Catholic Bible, and we are going to read from the last book of the New Testament, which we used to call in the old days the Apocalypse of St. John the Apostle. Of course, now everybody calls it the book of Revelation. But we're going to go to chapter 6, which I have marked here, chapter 6, verse 7. And it says, "And when he opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth living creature saying, 'Come.' And I saw, and behold, a pale horse, and he who was sitting on it, his name is Death, and hell was following him. And there was given him power over the four parts of the earth, to kill with sword, with famine, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth." Okay, so, which is my opening to talk about this incredible film, Pale Rider. So we don't have a pale horse, we have a pale rider. Clint Eastwood. I had never seen this movie before I decided to do it for our little project here, but I will be honest enough to tell you that I tried to start watching this 2 other times within the past couple of years. I don't remember when I bought this, but tried to start watching it. And the opening scene where they have these guys riding very swiftly into this miners' camp, and the tension is building up. You're going back and forth between the sound of the horses and these determined looks on these men's faces, and then the very peaceful people of the mining camp and the children and all that, women hanging out the laundry and all this wonderful stuff. And the tension is just building and building and building. That's about as far as I got 2 times when I started to watch this, because I had a feeling, I just had this premonition that we're going to have a major bloodbath here, and I'm not in the mood to see it. So now you guys know me very well, and I'm the first one to say that I'm a huge wimp when it comes to violence and all that sort of thing, and I admit it. I'm not trying to shy away from it, but I have been trying to stretch my experience in the last couple of years. I think I'm doing pretty well. So since I had to watch this film for this project, I got through it. I was quite amazed that this scene did not end with such a major bloodbath that I was expecting. And I got pulled into the story very quickly. It was a great, great movie. Now, I've seen High Plains Drifter, and I did like it, but I like this a lot more. And I need to watch Unforgiven. I have that sitting on the shelf as well, and I haven't watched it yet. So that'll be coming up pretty soon. But no, I thought this was a terrific movie. A very simple story, actually. Just there have been a lot of films, a lot of westerns that had kind of the same theme, where you have, for example, cattlemen who don't want their land, their unfenced grazing land, to be invaded and cut up and fenced up by farmers, right, homesteaders. So they would do what they could to drive them out. Kind of the same idea behind what's going on here. A certain man had a lot of power, a lot of land, a lot of money, wanted control over all the gold that was being found in that area. He didn't want anybody messing in on his territory. So that's very simple story, actually. But what made it very mystical and very complicated and very different was the Pale Rider, the preacher who seemed to come out of nowhere as a result of a prayer of a young girl who was praying for a miracle that would save her family and her community. And it was just a very, very well done and very moving story all the way through. Clint Eastwood, he's kind of his what's the word? Taciturn, I guess, stiff self, but he manages to get so much emotion through just being what looks like a very one-dimensional facade and one-dimensional way of expression. A lot like Mitchum, I think. They had a lot in common. Mitchum could get a lot of feeling and emotion and drama through just raising an eyebrow, you know. So this is terrific. What can I say about it? I said in my comments to Harry and Jay in their videos, and I may have said it after Ian's as well, that I need to watch this a second time because I think I missed a lot of details, and I'm beginning to realize that I watch a lot of movies just sort of very quickly and very much on the surface, and I don't pick up a lot of details on first watch. So I am looking forward to watching this again. Now about the violence, the violence is not nearly as bad as I was expecting, so I was quite happy with that. Now I made a comment on Facebook after I watched this. I talked about mopping up all the blood, and Jay commented on that in his video. He couldn't understand why I made that. Well, I made that comment just to be funny, just to be my snarky self and talk about sort of the expectation that I always have that it's going to be that these are going to be violent movies, and that I always make the same kind of comments about them. And that's really all that it meant. But no, I like this movie. I do think it's ridiculous, just in a very in the sense of believability and logic that. For example, when the sheriff, played by John Russell, and his cohorts fired 460 million bullets into this guy in the middle of the street, and I think it went on for something like 5 minutes, and he's still breathing at the end of it, so of course they have to hit him in the head with a bullet. And the same thing that happened to the sheriff at the end of the movie. I mean, fill the guy with lead, but the only thing that actually kills him is a close-up of shooting him in the head. So that, to me, totally unnecessary. It reminded me of the end of Bonnie and Clyde, where they filled Bonnie and Clyde with 4,000 bullets. It's just a little bit too much. But that still did not spoil the movie. I liked all the actors in the film. Now, Michael Moriarty, who is the second build in the film, is an actor whose name I've heard over the years in a lot of different films that I really haven't paid that much attention to it. But I recently saw him in a film called Bang the Drum Slowly, which I think came out in 1973, and it was a baseball film where he co-starred with Robert De Niro, and it was a very good movie. And I was so impressed by his performance that when his name came up in this, I'm even more impressed by the guy. So now Michael Moriarty is the name that I will be looking for, even though he's been around for a long time and has done a lot of movies, but he's somebody I will focus on whenever I can. Carrie Snodgrass was the female lead, a very talented, very unique, very underused, and I think underappreciated actress. Didn't make a lot of films, but she was always very good in what she did. And if any of you are interested in learning a lot more, or at least a little more about Carrie Snodgrass, you might want to look for this incredible 1970 film, Diary of a Mad Housewife, in which she plays the harried wife of Richard Benjamin, who is just the ultimate toxic male jerk of a husband. And for this role, she was nominated for Best Actress of 1970. Very, very good movie. Good example of what Carrie Snodgrass was able to do. The young actress Sydney Penny is a name that I've never heard of until I watched this movie, and she's very good. So very beautiful as well. Now the guy that played the sheriff, John Russell, of course, became famous on television in the 1950s in the TV Western Lawman. And he gave a chance to give a really good three-dimensional performance in this film, showing what a talented actor he really was, instead of doing this kind of two-dimensional character on Lawman, which was still a very good show. Richard Kiel, always good to see him. He used to show up at Star Trek conventions, and I never took the opportunity to go up and meet this man and get his autograph, and I wish now that I had. So I deeply regret that. Christopher Penn, very good actor, almost as good as his brother, I would say. They're quite different, And well, what can I say? Oh, I want to say one thing about the music in this film. Now, I usually don't watch the closing credits to most movies. They don't really have anything that interests me, but I like the imagery as the credits were rolling and the pale rider was sort of disappearing into the mountains. So I started listening and watching and listening to the music, and the music was just so beautiful, so incredible. I think it was better during the closing credits than it was during the film. And I've gone on for almost 10 minutes, and that's probably what we need to do. So I'm finished. Thank you so much, Jay, for suggesting this movie and giving me a chance to watch it. I really enjoyed it. So, all right, take care, everyone. Comments are welcome, and have a drink.